to tell you something though. You know, I just turned 42 last week. I do think my hair won't grow long anymore, Casey.
Oh, interesting.
It like stops.
Huh.
Right above my boobs. And all I ever want is mermaid hair, you know, like where you can cover your nipples with your hair. And also the nipples are, maybe it's also maybe my hair.
The
maybe it's not my hair, maybe it's my nipples are lower. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Of course.
Sorry you had to have that epiphany on a podcast.
What a fucking bummer for
Talk
me.
about clickbait headlines.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best. Okay. Hi. I sent these texts.
Hi, how are you?
Well, Casey will tell you that the first 5 minutes of any podcast is me returning emails, just taking care of some light housekeeping and some business that I need to do today. Take your time,
do your thing.
Listen, and here's the thing. Today, I was like, we have a special guest. We have, you know, I mean, like, you deserve respect. And
Not
I was
really.
Well, listen, I was entering into this planning to give it to you. And then just I got sidetracked with a thing, and then I had to do the text and send the screen grab of the proof of the whole thing. It's a lot being the parent of a teen, but here we are. Podcast has started.
Listen, if I needed respect in the entertainment industry, I would not still be doing this after 21 years. If I expected dignity and respect, do you think I would still be doing this?
That's a great point, and one that I also should consider for myself.
Here's what I will say. Can I interrupt, because we always just roll into the podcast. I think in a way you did give our special co-host today, comedian Chris Gethard, respect.
Thank you.
Because before we even started the podcast, as you were doing your emails, you asked his parental advice on the email you were sending, and that's a type of respect.
Correct.
It's not like, you know, it's not show business. Here's your VIP green room and cheese tray respect. But it's like, you know, you're a smart guy. You would be smart about this parental thing I'm handling. How would you handle this? It's a type of respect. And even knowing more valuable than cheese.
And even knowing what I do, that Chris only has been a parent since 2019. I still was like, what do you guys think I should say? I don't know if I nailed the tone, Casey. I might have sounded too angry, but we'll see.
Way out of my depth. You did seem pissed. I get why. But I'll also say this.
I'm not pleased about it, you know? I hate it.
We've all done enough things where you get on with someone who you're just meeting and it's like, oh my God, how are you? This and that. And we all know what those things are. But then to go, hey, I got this shit I got to deal with at school. Give me a minute. You know what that is?
Yeah.
That's a real human being in a real human being moment. It goes a lot further than the cheese tray, so to speak. So let's keep that in mind too.
Okay.
Keep that in mind too.
All right. You know what? I'm really doing my best, guys. I'm living up to the name of the pod. Busy Phillips is doing her best. It's me. It's Busy Phillips. You heard Casey St. Ange being professional and introducing our guest, Chris Gethard.
Gethard. Gethard plagued me. Gethard did plague me for many years, as you would imagine.
Gethard is how it's spelled. Gethard.
It is. Gethard. Yeah, Gethard.
Okay, Gethard.
I'm not sure why no one in my family's ever changed it, but we haven't.
I always thought, seeing your name over the many past 20 years, I always thought it was Gethard, or Get. I always did think that was a hard T.
Yeah.
Always thought it.
Many people do. Nope. Real soft TH sound in the middle there. And many a bully starting around 5th, 6th grade sunk their teeth into that one.
It's hard. My name is Busy. I got a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, I bet.
You guys, most recently, I was moderating this panel at the Tribeca Film Festival for Tina Fey and Robert Carlock and Meredith Scardino and Jeff Richmond, the executive producers of Girls 5 Eva. And it was like about television and their company and about the show and blah, 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 blah. And then afterwards, we had this little dinner. It was a very small dinner. And it was at I'm new to New York, Chris. You know, I just moved here in September. The Greenwich. It was at the Greenwich hotel. And who is there in the corner but Mr. Robert De Niro himself?
Wow.
You know.
Welcome to New York.
Welcome to New York. As Taylor Swift said, they've been waiting for me. Anyway, so we were with some of the people that run the Tribeca Film Festival. And so Mr. De Niro stopped by the table to say hello. And then I was introduced to him and he was like, "Are you busy? And then I was like, I can't believe he just fucking did it. Like, it's the thing that I've been getting my whole life. And I wanted to be like, "Oh, Dad, like, don't do that. Like, Grandpa." But I didn't because it was Robert De Niro and it was really exciting. And then he immediately like caught himself and was like, "That is, you've gotten that your whole life. This is."
He did. He saved
yeah,
it.
he did. He saved it. And I was like, "I know, but I've never gotten it from Robert De Niro. Thank you." And then it was nice. And he just like, put, had his little jaunty cap on and left. But anyway, Chris Gethard, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're
Lucky
welcome.
to be here. I just left New York. I just left New York last year after 16 years.
Oh, wait, you guys moved? You're out?
I'm in New Jersey now. So I'm still in the New York. In terms of entertainment, I'm still a New Yorker as far
The
as where I do my
tri-state area.
Yes, as far as where I do my shows. But I moved out to the woods.
Because the pandemic.
No, we bought our house before the pandemic.
A wild story.
Well, we had a baby and I was pretty burnt, if I'm being honest. Like, I've been working at a pretty relentless pace in New York for many, many years. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of killing me. And, that the city is like the best, most beautiful place. We lived in Jackson Heights, Queens, which is like, I can't imagine a more amazing neighborhood to live in my life.
Vibrant.
And like every kind of food, every type of person, all the things you want out of New York. But then also, like, I, saw a subway masturbator at 2 PM on the F train one day.
No.
I was once carrying my stroller down the subway steps and a woman pushed me because she was in a rush. Like grabbed the stroller and pushed me up against the railing while I was like struggling here. I was going, I have to really think about, I am not someone of the means to raise a kid comfortably in New York City. So I think I got to go someplace that's a little more chill because I can't stay above the fray, and I'm starting to really feel like I am in the fray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we lived in Park Slope in Brooklyn, and after 9/11, we were trying to decide, like everyone was, are we going to stay? Are we going to go? Are we going to sell our place in Brooklyn? And there were like, for once in our lives, the pros and cons lists were pretty even. And then I was at work and my husband had our son and I was pregnant. My husband had our older son in the park, and he texted me, "I am texting you from under a park bench. A gunman just chased another gunman through the park. So we are moving out of New York City." And I was like, yeah, that feels like a sign. That feels like
Listen, sometimes a city gives you a fucking sign.
Yeah.
And you got to take it. That's what happened to me in LA. You know that, Casey.
Yeah. You
Our
gotta
listeners
take
at
it.
home don't know the full sign. And you may, until I write
What
another
a
book,
tease.
guys.
What a
I know, but you know
tease.
what? I can't get into it. Although
A couple
one
signs.
thing I wanted to, well, I had a few signs, but then it was like very clear that I was to get the fuck out of there. And then we did, and all this like amazing stuff happened when we got to New York, and it just felt like, well, we're here. We're meant to be here. We're just going to do it. But ours was more 2020 driven than anything else, I would say, our exodus.
I know I'm into having a toddler, which you guys having been parents, it's like everything that New York offers kind of gets cut off at the knees when you're raising a toddler. Because it's like this idea of like the idea of like, oh, you might just randomly run into a friend and spend a couple hours with them that you didn't expect. Or like you might just get a text and be like, fuck it, I'll jump on the subway and meet up with you right now. Or like, hey, I just finished doing shows, but maybe we should there's a late movie. Let's just like me and a bunch of other like all of those things that are pure magic about New York, where it's like you legitimately don't know how the days are going to end, and you might wind up seeing someone you haven't seen in a long time, or going and doing something that you never would have knew existed 8 hours earlier. Like that's just not feasible when you're raising a toddler. It's just not.
And can I tell you something? I mean, you have to be, I think, just insane or super, super rich to have babies and toddlers and small children in this city. It is, to me, I see people with the strollers and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. It seems bonkers to me.
It's a lot.
It seems like just so much. LA was like magic. Everybody has a yard and all your shit is in your car and all it's so easy. And even then it's almost impossible. You know what I mean? Like having kids, whatever. So my point being, our kids are at very different stages in their lives now. They're like preteen, teen. And what this city has afforded them in terms of like exactly the stuff you're talking about.
Magic.
As an adult, magic. Like for my kid to feel the freedom of being able to walk to the bodega with their friends and get snacks and maybe like, you know, see a guy masturbating. I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, that'll be a memory that lasts forever.
Anyway, I think it's like, I'll be curious when your kid I'll be curious in 10 years how you feel.
Well, my wife's an artist too, so I go back and forth for stand-up shows a lot now. My wife is, you know, of the Broadway world and from the music world, so I think she's going to go back a lot. But for now, we just need to get this kid kind of up and running and in a life. I mean, when I was on the F train, I remember, and I've been working on a joke about it, but it's very, very true. Which this guy got on and he sat down and he started playing with himself over his sweatpants, but like going for it.
Yeah.
And we all just saw it. Like you saw, there were like 25 people on the car, 30 people. We all saw it. And I was like, all right, dude. And no one said anything. And I was just like, it's fair to say, like, that is where the bar is set in New York. Like, if you're going to keep it in your pants, just, all right, I'll wait till my stop. Like, just don't actually take it out. Like, please. Like, and my son wasn't with me on that. But I remember so distinctly realizing, like, if my son was with me, like, that's the other thing, too. You realize that raising a toddler in New York, so many situations where I'm like, oh, I can no longer just walk away. Like, I can't just like wait until we get to Herald Square and then sprint up to the next car. Like, if I had my kid with me, I legitimately might have to like fight a maniac now. I might have to kill a person. And you sit there and you go, and you're totally okay with that. Let's also be clear too, as a New Yorker, you're like, oh, at that point, my son was probably 6 months old. I'm like, yeah, if my 6-month-old was with me and this guy got up and started coming toward us, I guess I'd have to kill this guy. And you go, oh, I can't. That's not how you live. It's not how you live. Constantly thinking about killing and surviving. Maybe
it really makes you realize how vulnerable you are, especially like getting up and down the subway stairs, because there didn't used to be elevators, you know, which is horrible for disabled people, also horrible for moms with strollers. And it really will often bring out the very kind side of New Yorkers, but a big muscly guy will very often come up to a mom and say, let me get that, and just fully take your stroller from you and, just chug up the stairs with it. And you're like, well, if he wanted to just run away with my baby, he totally could. But you just let them because you're like, yeah, I don't want to. I'll say this. If you have a light baby in New York, you can maybe make it if your baby weighs like under 8 pounds, maybe. But if I had heavy babies and you cannot fucking make it in New York City. If you have a hefty baby, fuck that. No way. And then I tried to like carry my older son on the front carrier, and he oh my God, I cannot tell you how many people's trench coat belts he would chew on the subway. Like I would always just look up and he would be like chewing some financial analyst's Burberry trench coat belt, and I would just have to like
here's one thing I do want to say. Cricket, who's 8 this week, turns 8 this week, my little one. Still, I will turn around, like at Disney, we just went to Disney World. We took the kids to Disney World. And like, I will turn around and Cricket will be like licking a post or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, why is that chain like that's holding the crowd back in your mouth. Like, why? What is happening? You know, like that part is still worrisome to me, especially with Cricket, because I do feel like she just like absentmindedly just like puts her dirty little fingers in her mouth constantly. I don't know. But wait, guys, I want to talk about Disney World.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Because that's what I did, Chris. I took my kids to Disney World. I
I
know
went
you
recently
stand
as well.
on
I love it.
You did?
Love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait, Chris, I love that you love it. I wouldn't, from your stand-up and stuff, would not expect that you are a person who's into Disney World.
Yeah, I think Disney's pretty great. My mom is one of those people who has become like Disney obsessed in her old age. Like we visit them and they moved to Florida to retire. They're in the Orlando area. Like their silverware has like Minnie Mouse cutouts at the ends of every fork. Like my mom's a Disney person. They have annual
Oh my God,
passes.
I love your mom.
Yeah, I love my mom too. She's the best.
That's nice to hear as a mom and a person who hopes someday my children won't blame me for everything, although I'm very much prepared for that eventuality. So, Casey, where do you stand on Disney? Are you in? You're out? I know you did the Disney cruise when the boys were little, and that was very important and a good time for you
That
guys.
was actually a Nickelodeon cruise. That was
never mind.
Yeah, a Nick cruise. My mom is also a Disney lover. I did a lot of the TV shows that I worked on. Did the show like a week of shows from Disney, so I got that like super deluxe like Disney experience where you have like basically a concierge that puts you right on the ride, and
Let's
you don't
be
have
real.
to wait.
That's how I did it too, guys. We're just going to be
Not
out
me.
in the open here about how
waited on
I
lines.
managed to do it.
So the first couple times my family went as like adults, that's the experience that we had. And then we went like the regular way, and my kid was like, "What? Like this is not great." Wait, did I ever tell you about the Tower of Terror? About when I worked at Rosie, we had you get right on the ride. You have like an ambassador, basically like a Disney ambassador puts you right on the ride, and you
Disney
get to
guide.
Go, a Disney guide. You get to go a million times on whatever ride you want to go on, and you have a great time. Then we went as a family. My older son, Eli, I don't know how old he was, like maybe 8 years old. And we went to MGM Studios. Is that where Tower of Terror is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they changed it to Hollywood Studios now.
Hollywood
It's called
Studios.
Hollywood
Okay.
Studios. Mhm.
And that he really wanted to go on the Tower of Terror, and it was out of commission. It was like temporarily closed. And so he kept going to check if it was open. Is it open? Is it open? And the guy out front kept saying, "No, it's not open. It's not open." So finally he was like, "What's happening? Like, this is the whole reason, like, I wanted to come here. What's happening? Like, when can I go on the Tower of Terror?" And the guy was like, "Listen, I'm not even really supposed to say anything, but I think like a girl had an aneurysm on it or something." And
Oh my God.
and my son goes, "Well, I'm going to have an aneurysm if I can't go on it." and then the guy was like, "Okay, I'll contact you when you can come back when it's open again."
Wait, that's wild. I love it. Okay, so I got hooked up with the guide. Disney has always been very nice to me. I've always loved them and like posted about them before they gave me anything for free. But I had like, I'm just saying, because that guide is, guys, if you have to pay for it, it is prohibitively expensive. It is so insanely expensive. But they said like they would make a deal with me. You know, they know that I'm going to Instagram about it. You know what I mean? Like, and then also I did like a little video thing for them because it's their 50th anniversary coming up. It's the parks are turning 50. So I like, the first day we were there before Epcot opened, I went into Epcot and there was like the Disney press team, and I did a little video, which apparently Shailene Woodley and Aaron Rodgers had just done as well.
Ooh.
In exchange.
All
So
right.
guys, this is what I'm saying to you is that like, I know that people are like, rich people get all the free shit. And that is true. But also sometimes they ask you to do stuff in return, and I was happy to do it.
All right.
Is that relatable? No. Anyway, the point being this.
It's not relatable.
At all. I get it.
Yeah.
But listen, we got it all hooked up, and I did my little bit, and then we were good. Guys, if you know anything about me, you know that I love having my nails done. I love a fresh coat of polish on these little fingernails and on my toenails. And then, when the first lockdown happened, I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And this is a true story. Olive and June, which is an amazing manicure, pedicure salon in Los Angeles, came out with these kits, the Mani system. And oh my God, it is the best manicure, do-it-yourself at home, salon perfect nails every time. Each at-home mani comes out to like basically $2,
Right.
Which is a lot less than going into a salon. And most of the time, DIY manis, look like a 5-year-old painted your nails, right? They have come up with a system.
Well,
I
yes.
don't even know how to explain it to you. You have to get it. It's like that little cap thing.
Yes.
Sorry,
Here's
go
what
ahead,
I want.
Casey.
No, I just want to say using the Olive and June Mani system is so amazing because it's a woman-owned company, and the company was so thoughtful when they were inventing this Mani system in like how it works when you're trying to paint your own nails. So there's a special silicone attachment that goes on the top of the nail polish cap.
Right. It's like a little brush handle.
Yeah, that makes it like very easy to steady your hand and to hold on to. And the brush is flat and perfectly works to paint your nails. And
the nail polish is such good quality and such good colors.
And it like settles onto your nail perfectly like glass. And then the manicure lasts I've had my nails painted for like 10 days. No chips.
Anyway, guys, we're obsessed. You have to try it. The Olive and June Mani system. It's the secret for salon perfect nails at home, all in one, no guessing, no messy nails. And I mean, no salon price tag. It's a lot cheaper. You can now get it even cheaper. You can get it 20% off your first Mani system with our code BEST, BEST. So get 20% off your first Mani system when you use the promo code BEST at oliveandjune.com. Olive and June, oliveandjune.com, and use our code BEST to get 20% off of your first Mani system. You're going to love it. The colors are so cute. Sakara life. Sakara life. What do you think?
I think that was good. That was very gentle.
It felt gentle because you know what is gentle on my digestive system? A Sakara life reset.
Yes.
That was honestly, I feel like that seg was worth everything.
Yeah.
Guys, we've talked about this before. It is I will say this. I will just say this. There are very, 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 very few and far between things that we advertise on this show that one of us has not used personally IRL before they even became a sponsor on the show. Sakara is a nutrition company. It focuses on overall wellness, starting with what you eat. I have been a Sakara subscriber, I guess. I don't know. What do you call it? A user? No.
Yeah.
A Sakara
customer, client,
customer,
lover.
Oh my God, customer. Customer, client, and lover are 3 words that are better than the 4 I came up with. But I have been a Sakara customer for years. They have organic, ready-to-eat meals that are made with powerful plant-based ingredients and are designed to boost your energy and improve your digestion and get your skin glowing. I love doing it. before I have like a big photo shoot because I know my skin's going to look great. I'm going to feel great. My IBS will not be flaring up because they have a menu of creative, chef-crafted, ready-to-eat breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. It's like giving you more of what your body needs, more of what's good for you. It's not restrictive. It's the idea that like your nourished body is your best body. Along with delicious plant-rich meals, they offer daily wellness essentials, supplements, herbal teas to support your nutrition. You know, Sakara has received rave reviews from everyone. Don't listen to me. Listen to Vogue, Goop, the New York Times, and more. And right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when they go to sakara.com/busy or enter code BUSY at checkout. That's Sakara. It's spelled SAKARA.com/busy to get 20% off your first order. Sakara.com/busy. We had a great time. It was super fun. And it was real insanely hot. But on the way there, Casey, I don't know if you saw this. Like our plane, which I was like, for the first time ever, I'm so close to Florida. I live in New York now. Florida's always been like impossible to get to from the West Coast. Like I could never, you have to like stop and Dallas. I don't even know. So close to Florida. Well, first of all, something happened and the traffic getting into the tunnel, whatever. We were running so late. We were flying JetBlue. And then we made it and they were so great. And they're like, yay, you can go, get on the plane. Walked on the plane, sat down, and then it was like doors closing, basically. We're so excited that we made our flight. And then we were just like sitting there on the runway. And then the pilot came on. Actually, I want to say this. I was traveling with just Birdie and Cricket because Mark had done the wildest, kindest thing ever, which was that Birdie's longtime best friend, B, was supposed to come with us with her mom from LA. And the kids haven't seen each other for a year. And even then they like saw each other only very briefly a year ago. It's really since the first shutdown, those kids like haven't seen each other. And just like, it's been a lot, it's been really hard for all of these kids during this. I don't have to tell anyone who's listening. It's been hard for everybody, but I really do feel terrible for like the teens and young adults. Anyway. But then B's mom, Kelly Oxford, who was a writer on our show, who we love, like got this job interview type like pitch thing that she couldn't move. And so couldn't bring B, like couldn't do it. So Mark flew to LA, picked the kid up, and met us in Orlando with B the next day on Saturday. So it's the nicest thing ever. And it was so amazing. And it was so good to see little B. I love that kid so much. But anyway, we're on the plane. I had my noise canceling like AirPods in immediately because I was like, I don't want to hear any complaining about anything. And because we're going to Disney World. And Birdie's like, that noise isn't normal. As we're taxiing, that noise isn't normal. I was like, Birdie, I think it's just like the engines just make weird loud noises. I don't know. And then legit 3 seconds later, the plane has just stopped. And then the pilot comes on and he's like, hello, like you may have heard that noise. That noise is not normal. And it's coming from the left side. So we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to run a few diagnostics, blah, blah, blah. Okay. 2 hours on the ground, on the plane. Didn't let us off on the plane. And at a certain point, Birdie, Chris, my older kid, has has like as we all fucking, who doesn't, has a lot, and I know you relate to this, has a lot of like anxiety and can get like sort of like things can be hard for them,
Yeah.
And Bird started to kind of like panic at one point. Like, they have to let us off. Like, we can't just keep sitting here. Like, they have to let us off. And started like spinning up a little bit. And I could see it happening. And the other thing is like, there are multiple ways of coping. But because we had been so late, I like didn't have any snacks on me. I didn't have any drink, like water or any drink or anything to give Birdie. So I was just sort of like trying my best to help talk them down and through it and like what was happening, whatever. And then I noticed this woman in the row in front of us to the right. So Birdie's on the aisle. So the woman's like on the kitty corner aisle. First of all, the lady has that thing on where you have your text really giant because you don't want to wear reading glasses, even though you need to admit that you need reading glasses. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
And I can see that she is texting a group of people. Busy Phillips' daughter is on the flight and is freaking the fuck out. And I was like, all right, bitch. Like, I'm gonna, like, I almost, so Chris, this is like what you're talking about. So then you have a choice. I'm like, do I cause a fucking scene and get kicked off of this plane and like make it a whole thing? And then this could have really fucking backfired on me. But I was like, oh my God, Birdie, look at that fucking lady's text. And Birdie saw it, of course, because anyone can see it because homegirl needs glasses. Anyway, you could see it 10 rows back is my point. And Birdie was like, ugh, hey, this is so gross. I was like, yeah. And Birdie's like, I'm a child. Like, I struggle with mental health issues. That's something that she thinks that should be taken to the group chat. It snapped Birdie right out of the panic. And they were just like, this woman has some nerve. Like, who's like totally righteous and indignant. And then I was like, okay, like I wanted to say something, but I also wanted to just get the plane moving and get to Walt Disney World. So I was like, here's what I'm going to do. Birdie's like, what are you going to do? It's like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about it on my podcast. And Birdie's like, yeah, you are. Like, okay, deal. So I'm talking about it on my podcast, and lady, I'm putting you on blast. I don't know if you listen to this podcast, but also guys, just like for anyone out there, like if you see a person that is, I don't know, just trying to parent their children, I don't know, maybe that's just like a thing, like keep it to yourself. I don't even know. Which brings me to the second thing, which is the resurgence of the like Gawker Stalker by way of that site Du Moi, Casey. Chris, do you remember Gawker Stalker?
I do remember Gawker Stalker, but I don't know Du Moi.
Right. Well, I didn't either. And then I did Bowen Yang's podcast, and he was like, you know, you've been featured on Du Moi, like blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what the heck is Du Moi? And it's an Instagram account that's essentially Gawker Stalker, where people just write in where they've spotted people and what they're doing. And I don't know. I have lots of feelings, but I do feel this. All of the ones I started like kind of looking through it after they told me about it on the podcast. So many of them are like, you know, Busy Phillips, like eating at this restaurant with her kids, Anon, please. And my feeling is this. If you're going to be the fucking asshole who like puts people on blast for being in public and like living their fucking lives, I don't think you should get to be anonymous. Because I don't, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I'm with you. I am not a very famous person. Like I've always been very big in the underground, and then occasionally come up for air in the mainstream has kind of been my MO with the career stuff. And there was a stretch where, because I had a public access TV show for many years that kind of became a cult hit and eventually became a cable show. And I remember having I was aware how funny it was while it was happening. They had posters for the TV show all over the 7 train line, but I lived on the 7 train line and I was not famous or I was not rich enough. Like I wasn't getting cars everywhere. Like I couldn't afford that. They weren't sending them. So I'd be on the 7 train pulling in and out of stations and there'd be big pictures of my head. And I was like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable and like funny thing. But the dark side of it is like, I remember there's one a lot of people love and I get why it's good, but I showed up on there once where they'll do things where it's like pictures of celebrities and I was like so low level compared to anyone else who's ever been featured under it. And it was a picture of me and the caption was like, oh, it looks like we all found out Chris Gethard bites his nails. And as soon as I saw the picture, I remember thinking to myself, I remember that exact day. And I was biting my nails because I was watching this person point their phone at me, pretending they weren't. And it was driving me completely insane. And I was nervous. I was like really nervous and really scared. And I actually had an incident. It's so funny that we went down this track because I mentioned the subway masturbator and raising a kid. One of my big personal breaking points with New York City was there was a stretch there. Like 2017, I had my TV show on the air. I had an HBO special come out right in the midst of that. I had a podcast that it got featured on This American Life. So it was like this 18-month stretch where, like, if you've heard of me, it was probably for something that happened within 18 months of my 41 years on Earth. So it was very intense and positive in 99% of the ways. But I was once eating in a diner on 10th Avenue and 58th Street, I think. And I was eating by myself. I was, like, in between stand-up gigs. And I come from northern New Jersey. And if you know anything about Jersey, you know diners are like churches to people who grew up in Jersey. You have your neighborhood diner, your favorite diners. When you're in high school, that's where every weekend night you wind up at the diner with your friends. Like that is a safe zone, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm eating there and I was reading an article on my phone and all of a sudden I get an alert that I've been tagged in something. And I open it up and it's Facebook. And I have been tagged in a photo in a very nice group of fans of mine, which I'm lucky to have, and I'm flattered to have it. But it's a picture of me eating in the diner that I am currently still in.
No, real time.
Yeah, and it says, guys, look who I just found. Let's all guess what he's eating. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, there's someone in this place right now who took a secret picture of me and I don't know who it is. And it really freaked me out. And I'll tell you what, I couldn't shake it. And my wife was going, look, you've worked really hard to get successful. You're finally getting to a place where this is happening. Think of it as a sign of success. Even my shrink for a while was kind of like, you keep bringing this up and it's a little, she didn't say this word, but kind of like a little, like get off the high horse. Like you're complaining about being recognized, you know, like, and I get it. But then I cracked the code with my shrink because she finally was like, why aren't you dropping? And look, like I've been very public about it. Like I really, for a big chunk of my life, I was in a dangerous place when it came to mental stuff. I really was. And there were a few years there where I was on a medication called Risperdal, where if anybody out there has heard of it, it's an antipsychotic. Yeah. And the root cause was because I had like really severe paranoia. And anytime I drove, I would think police were following me. I constantly thought like people were following me. And my shrink, she nailed it so hard. She goes, I've realized what's going on. I go, what? And she goes, when someone's taking clandestine photos of you, she's going, you're having this sense memory that you're insane.
Yeah, it's your worst fear.
And she goes, because for a few years there, you thought people were following you around and spying on you and shit. And that is the memory, that's the feeling you have from the scariest stretch of your life. But she goes, it was so brilliant. She goes, you got to realize it's okay to be freaked out by it now because it's real. She goes, You're having the sense memory of something that wasn't real and it's scaring you because it's a feeling you never wanted to feel again. But now the feeling's real, so it's okay. It's okay to be freaked out that someone's taking pictures of you and you don't know who they are or where they are. Wow. The problem 20 years ago was that it wasn't real, and that unlocked a lot for me. But that was like my version of that, and it really freaked me out. And just for the record, I was eating an egg white omelet with spinach feta and whole wheat toast and a vanilla Coke.
Okay, that honestly sounds
gosh.
delightful, though, as a meal.
That sounds very good. I mean, I have always had a really sort of weird relationship with, when I worked for David Letterman, everybody knew where the Ed Sullivan Theater was. People would wait to, sort of have contact with him when he was leaving the office. He
famously had a stalker too.
He had so many stalkers. I mean, he had the famous one, but he then had so many, and there was just something about him that would make a woman pack up her children and all her belongings and drive across the country to profess her love to him for whatever reason. And that was part of my job, to like keep track of these people that were sending letters and just keep an eye on how that was going and talk to security about it. But so he was always really, sort of cautious when he was leaving. And if he was in a hurry to leave at night, he would sort of like hunker down and baseball cap and, sort of reduce his height to scurry off to his car to, just so he wasn't so recognizable. And very often at night, I would go to his car with him, but I'm nobody, so who cares? But one thing is that he would also often put us on the show back then, because that would, you'd get paid to be on the show, and that would like double your salary for the week. And so I never wanted to be famous, but I wanted to be on the show because I wanted to get like twice the money for the week. And so that was exciting to me. So I'd be like, yeah, I'll be on TV for twice the money. Hell yeah. And so there was one night where we were leaving and he was, in his coat, hunkered down in his collar. And a guy like jumped out and grabbed my arm and said, "Oh my God, it's you. You're my favorite character on the show. And Dave is such a dad." And he was like, "No." He like instantly gave up trying to be unseen. And he was like, "She's not a character. She's a real person. And you waited here to ambush her. And that's scary. And you touched her. You do not." And of course he like made him apologize. And I was like, oh my God, like I would have been, but it was scary and he was right. And then that gave me like a real taste of like what it is and how weird it can be. I mean, listen, Dave loved to make people apologize. He also made Duran Duran apologize to me one time for like shoving past me on Stairwell as well.
Well, that's amazing.
But yeah, so it gave me like a real taste of like what it was like to have.
Chris even said it. Like, there is this idea that has permeated the culture, which is like, you're so fucking lucky to be there.
Yeah.
You need to take this part of it along with it because you're just lucky. You're just so lucky to even have people that want to talk to you, that want to be fans of you, that want to take pictures, clandestine pictures of you in a diner in Paramus. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, the idea that because what we do is rare and that we, rely on people liking us and rooting for us, that then we have to like be okay with having people take weird stalkery pictures of us. Like I just reject that idea. I've never treated somebody that I'm a fan of that way. I would, you know what I mean? Like,
well,
I just wouldn't do it.
I think it's unfair.
I wouldn't
because
text my friends like, Jessica Alba's on my flight and her kid is freaking the fuck out. You know what I mean?
I think
that never happened.
I think it's unfair because I think, you're in the course of, Chris, your comedy, you're going and you're performing for people, and that's like a transaction that they've, they want to come see you. They're a fan, but they haven't paid to see you at a diner. You know what I mean? And if that's exciting for them, they can take it in. And, that's like a personal. If they want to come and say hello to you in a way that's respectful, that's a judgment call or whatever, and how you choose to receive that. Or if someone wants to see you or say something on a flight busy, but that's not part of the agreement of what you're giving as a performer. So then to like report on it and make it part of the transaction, I think it's kind of unfair, especially to do it in an unkind way. This week, Monique, the comedian Monique, was, I don't know if you guys know, she was kind of in hot water with a lot of people because someone sent her a picture. She's been on this kick of like that women, I think Black women should present themselves a certain way when they're in public, that they should make an effort to look nice. And
wait, she's saying that?
Yes, that
okay.
They should, I
don't know about this,
they should be dressed nicely and have their hair done, and so, which is fine. That's an opinion that she has, but somebody sent her a picture of a woman who, in their opinion, wasn't dressed nicely in public, and Monique posted it. Was like, and it was basically like a creep shot of this woman who didn't consent to being posted to like millions of people. And, and so that's also kind of like the same thing, like in reverse. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, yes. And that's the whole thing, like where people, do these like Twitter threads or whatever about, I mean, sometimes it's about celebrities. Like, I think about the one that affected my life personally. Yes. But then sometimes it's just like, like those two random people on the airplane that the people are sitting behind and they're like giving the play-by-play and the whole thing goes viral. And then these two people like get off an airplane 3 hours later and they're at the center of some fucking cultural moment that they did not consent to being a part of. And they're just like, okay, guys, like, you don't know my situation. You don't know what's going on. I think that people like boundaries have started to, fray.
Yeah, they really haven't. I think also people's brains are like a little broken around like the technology.
Yes.
We were just talking about everybody has these cell phones and, it's a little printing press in your pocket. You don't realize how powerful it is, how quickly it can help you spread something. And you're not in control of how, Chris, I'm sure you've gone viral many times with, well, you talked about it in your special, Half of My Life. You talked about how you did this joke about Gatorland in Orlando, and it's a really funny bit about this amusement park. You tell it. You say, because
since my parents do live in Orlando or outside of Orlando, I've gone there a lot, and we don't go to Disney World every time because, it's a lot of money and you want variety. And my wife and I once went to a place called Gatorland, and it's just this like amazingly old school, like no rules. You walk in, there's gators everywhere. You can buy hot dogs and just throw them willy-nilly, like no, what? Not even like, here's the area to go feed the alligators. Just say, yeah, have fun. And they have a gator wrestling show, and they have a zip line that goes over the gators. Like that's part of your thrill is like, oh, we're going to dangle you like meat above the gator. So,
oh my God.
I did a whole bit about basically comparing Disney World and Gatorland and how the whole bit was like, Disney World is like a very corporate experience and Gatorland's like the real, like true, like, sawdust on the floor, Americana, old school. And I worked on the bit for years, and I did it on a show on NPR once, and they had told me, oh, the show doesn't get archived. So I was like, oh, cool. Then I don't need to burn the joke after I'm done with it. And didn't realize it was a massive show. It was called Live from Here. It just got canceled, which was shocking.
But like millions of people heard it.
Yeah.
Suddenly,
like, all of a sudden it went from being like a joke I'd been kind of working on because I was going to put it out on an album someday to like, oops, didn't realize a few million people just heard this, and now the people the joke is about know about it. And yeah, they have every right to know about it, but I wasn't anticipating this being the way they found out. Uh-oh. But then it worked out well because in the special, we actually developed like a friendship, and my special ends with me performing that joke for 30 alligators and no humans.
Luckily, they were excited. The alligators and their caretakers were excited about it.
But I definitely exposed a place and had a moment of, oh God, they're going to hate me. They're going to be so mad at me for doing this. So I was on that side of the line, yeah.
I mean, I told a story on The Tonight Show with Fallon years and years ago about this crazy vacation we had taken into the jungle in Mexico. And I did not name the place. And my friend Irene, essentially like a jaguar, like attacked her room the first night that we were there. And the people were like, there's no jaguars here. It's not possible. It was a tiny raccoon. And we're like, Irene is like, you guys, I am not crazy. It was a giant cat. It was a jaguar. It was a giant black cat. And we looked up, like it was like there wasn't, this was so long ago. Like, I feel like we didn't have like good smartphones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like we couldn't even get like the area, if the area was known for jaguars. But in the little like library bar place, they had some like books about the area. And I fully found that jaguars were in the thing. And we showed it to the guy and he was like, no. It was a raccoon. I'm telling you, it was a raccoon. The raccoons are pretty big. And I'm like, no. Okay, whatever. And so then Irene was so freaked out. And this couple who was staying at this small jungle place overheard. And they're like, wait, we'll take the secluded like hut because the one that we're staying in is like kind of in the middle of everything. And we wanted to be alone. And we knew this because they had been fucking real loudly since we got there and everyone could hear it. So anyway, Irene was like, great. I'm happy to take your room, let's exchange. And then we didn't see the couple again until 4 days later. We're getting on the boat to go back to the mainland, whatever, to go back. And the guy, the boyfriend, was like, hey, did you hear what happened to us? We're like, no, what? And he's like, giant jaguar jumped in through our window and I had to break a wine bottle and chase it out. And we're like, are you fucking kidding me? And Irene's like, I told you guys. Anyway, it's a great story. So the point being, I told that story on Kimmel and then cut to like 3 months later, I ran into the actress Lake Bell at a thing in Los Angeles. And she was like, hey, so weird. I just took this vacation to this like jungle resort and they asked if I knew you. And they were like really upset that you're telling lies about their resort. And I was like, what? Like, what is happening? I was like, first of all, I did not say where I was ever. This predated Instagram. So it's not like it wasn't anywhere except for the story that I just told you that I told almost exactly the same on Kimmel. Not Kimmel, Fallon. You guys, whatever. They're all named Jimmy. I don't know. It was Fallon, not Kimmel. It was Fallon. And I never said I didn't even say like the Providence in Mexico. I didn't even say like anywhere near where we were. I just said a resort in the jungle in Mexico. Anyway, they were real mad about it. They reached out to guest Lake Bell.
I had a similar one but I think I did the right thing by them. So 2017, my wife and I, we were trying to get pregnant. We knew we were like, not gonna, we knew that we had like one big vacation left in us until baby time. And then things were going to change. So we went to Sri Lanka. It was, we looked up the time of year we were traveling. It was like, okay, the two places in the world that are warm right now and that don't have Zika are Sri Lanka and New Zealand. And we kind of flipped a coin. First of all, the most incredible place I've ever been. I feel like it was pure actual magic and everyone should see it. I want to just make sure everybody involved in Sri Lanka tourism knows I am all about it. Shout to the tops. That being said, yes. My wife loves yoga, very into it. And she's always said it would be very good for me. And I've never been able to stick with it. I've tried it a handful of times. And she found this place where we were in this beach town and there was a yoga instructor where it was like something out of fucking Indiana Jones. You had to walk up this giant staircase up the side of a mountain. And you get to a Buddhist compound with like a bunch of temples and buildings and stuff. And there was a guy teaching yoga up there and an outdoor pagoda. So I'm like, all right, if I'm going to do yoga,
Yeah, this is the place.
Climbing a Sri Lankan mountain to a Buddhist compound and doing it outdoors above the ocean, like magic. So we go, and here's where there's a very important piece of information where I can show you guys on the Zoom, but they can see this. Do you see how my elbows don't really like straighten correctly? Do you see that bone?
Sure.
I have this joint condition where I was born with it. I've never done a push-up in my life. I've never done a pull-up in my life. My arms like lock up, and my knees have a similar thing. My hands are like, I have some joint stuff. So that's always been part of my self-consciousness with yoga, where I'm like, I can't do a lot of stuff. And my wife's like, it's yoga. You take it at your own pace. Chill out.
Of course.
So I go and I'm in the back, and this guy's teaching yoga. And this is like a lot of yoga people. I mean, they're also in Sri Lanka climbing a mountain to take a class. Like, this is clearly a priority for them. And my wife's very good at it. So I'm in the back, and he has someone who's clearly like not like an assistant teacher, but clearly a student who's there every time, who he trusts. And he sends her to the back with me to like re-explain the exercises so he doesn't have to slow down too much for everybody else. I appreciate that. But so we're pretty deep into the class, and he has us doing a very basic downward dog. And then the next thing I know, he is standing next to me saying to the class, I want everyone else to turn around and watch this man. And everybody else stops, and I'm doing my shitty downward dog. And he goes, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the form of this downward? And I'm sitting there, whoa. Like, I'm like, whoa. And everyone's so quiet. And then someone finally out of pity is like, I don't know, maybe like a 5. And he's like, let's be honest, this is a 1. Okay, buddy, you're going to want to do this and that. And I'm sitting there trying to go, like, I can't do it. And he's like, no, adjust like this. And I physically cannot do what he's asking me to do. And it finally just like kind of awkwardly stops and moves on. And I was so humiliated.
God.
And then after the class, my wife went up to the guy and gets in a shouting match with the yoga. She's like, I've been trying to get him to do fucking yoga for years. You think he's ever going to try this shit again? That's not what... And then we leave, and I do have North Jersey in me in a big way. So we're walking away. I say to my wife, I go, I got to say something or else I'm just going to be pissed the rest of our vacation. So I go back, and I walk up to the guy. I'm like, dude, that was completely fucked up. And he's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not walking away without an apology. And he's like, yeah, I made you feel bad. I'm really sorry about that. And I start to walk away, and he goes, but the thing, and he starts to kind of just, and I turn around, I go, no buts. I was like, you motherfucker, no buts. You're fucking full of yourself. No fucking buts. I don't want to hear your butt. And he kept trying to, and I was like, legitimately, I'm not a fighter, and I'm not claiming I am, but I grew up a fighter, and it was coming back out. And I'm like in this guy's face, and it was bad. And I left a TripAdvisor review in a rage, and I put it on Facebook.
Oh my God.
On the vacation, on my personal Facebook, not like a public thing. Like I have one of those ones that here's the Chris Gethard one, and then here's my one that's just like friends from high school and my family.
Yeah.
And I checked it the day after it went up, and it had gone viral. It was like 1,000 likes and comments, and people who were in the class saying that's not what happened. And then other people going, I was in the class too. It kind of is what happened, and this and that. And I said, oh my God, I'm destroying a small Sri Lankan business in a Buddhist temple. I should take this down. So I took it down despite the viral nature. But it was a very funny, completely rage-filled thing. So it started to really move. I said, who do I really want to be in life? Okay, I don't want to wreck a small business in Sri Lanka. I don't want to do it. So I took it down. But I did eventually tell the story on Colbert. So I got that out of it.
I do have to say, like, that is a part of why I think people, we do have this like direct line to get the thing out when we feel we've been wronged. And then the trick is that, like, I guess sort of like everybody could always feel wronged by everything. Some people do feel wronged by everything, And so the temptation, like the pull of the internet of doing one of those threads, or just like, airing your grievances publicly for the world to see. I mean, they generally don't go viral, but I'm sure it was very well written because you're a great writer.
I was in the zone.
In the zone.
I was pissed.
Do you write great? Okay, Casey knows this about me. Do you write great fucking angry emails or letters at people?
I do. I've gotten better about not sending them.
You don't send them. Yeah, me too.
I will write them out sometimes. And both my mom and my wife, and I don't do this because it's too tempting, they keep them in the drafts folder.
That's crazy.
They'll have the nuclear option. They'll have I have it sitting there edited. It says exactly what I want to say. And if I get pushed another step too far and I just want to end a relationship, I can click send at any moment. I can't do that. I can't have access to a weapon like that. So I let them go. I'll write them out. I'll let them go.
I mean, I have gotten so much better about letting them go, but I also did kind of let a lot of my anger inform my book writing. So I suppose I didn't let that shit go.
But that's the place for it, right?
I guess so.
I don't know. I have to be careful about the drafts folder because I've accidentally sent the angry email when I've not intended. I've also accidentally copied the person when I've been bitching about them to other people. On the one time I did it like fully to an executive that had like not bought an idea that I thought was a great idea. But I will say it must have been like really effective bitching because somehow he apologized to me and it was like I felt like very powerful in that moment because I was like, this is like a man apologizing to me when I'm fully wrong. He must have been very terrified in that moment. Felt good.
I sent an email to my manager bitching pretty heavily about my agent and did not realize I had accidentally hit reply all instead of reply. And the agent I was bitching about read it, as did his boss. And I felt
But here's what I'm going to say.
Great.
Sometimes, I don't know, or sometimes people need a little bit of a fire lit.
It did work out that way where the boss was like, it's good for me to know this and we're going to get to work. And the guy was like, yeah, I have screwed up. And I did leave that agency shortly after that. So it all worked out okay. But that was a moment of actual, like, oh, no, like, because that's what a manager's, as far as I can tell, a big part of having a manager is just to complain about your agents, right? Like, that's part of their job.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what everybody does and why they take so much, but that's just me.
I'm sure all of them individually feel like they take so little, but then when it adds, it all almost adds up to 100%. Should we say what we're doing our best? Sorry.
Same.
Yeah.
I was going to do it because I already said what I'm doing my best at this week, didn't I?
Which was not choking that lady out on the plane?
Yeah. Keeping it together and deciding that I was just going to tell the story on the podcast.
Yeah.
And maybe it would lead to some interesting conversation, which I think it did.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear about a thing. And I don't know, Chris, you can chime in how you feel about this. But when people, I was with my family in Disney World. Several like fans came up during the time when I was there and were very sweet and sort of like keeping it low, trying to keep it low pro, but did ask for photos. And I was like, of course, like, let's take a quick selfie. Like, I get it. That I in no way am not happy or grateful or enjoy meeting the people who respond to the work that I do or this podcast, especially. Lots of podcast fans, Casey. I just want you to know.
Oh, that's
like
really
literally
nice.
Almost everyone who came up to me was like, I love the podcast. Or anyone who said anything to me was like, Busy, we love the podcast.
What did they say about me?
Busy, Casey knows so much and she just has so much knowledge and you're so lucky to be partnered with her. And I hope that she continues to work with you because she really makes you better. This is what my mom said,
She's just
Chris.
saying what her mom says about me, Chris. That's not what people say.
My mom's obsessed with Chris, but it is also what people say. You are a wealth of knowledge and I am lucky to be partnered with you.
That is very nice.
But I'm just saying, like, people are like, Girls 5 have a podcast. But all of this to say, I'm not like opposed to having people say hello in a sweet and like and gracious like nice way, like normal, I guess. I don't love someone taking a weird picture of me when I'm like in the middle of eating a Mickey ice cream thing and posting it online. Like, I would much rather pose for a photo with you than have you take some creeper shot of me that I'm not aware is being taken. And also, don't text your friends about my kid.
The kid stuff in particular is over the line.
And
it's hard. Yeah, it sucks.
It's a weird situation because, listen, I'm going to be like real talk. Biz, if you and I were at a restaurant and we saw someone having a parenting moment, I don't know that you and I wouldn't be like, oh, that person looks like they're having a rough time with their kid. I don't know that we wouldn't do that. If it's weird because in that situation, that person had a name to put to the person and their child.
Well, and the text very much felt like they were passing judgment.
Make your text small if you need to talk about it, but also realize that like you're talking about someone that people know about, and that's like not information that you maybe want to pass. I think it's weird because I think,
oh my God. Wait, I also forgot the best part, which was that Birdie in that thing said to me, also, do you want to tell that lady that she misgendered me? And I was like, this is a great point, kid.
Yeah.
This is a great fucking point.
Yeah. Listen, just be careful. Just treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
Also, to be fair, we'd been on a fucking plane for an hour and a half with no snacks and no water. And my kid is 12 and has panic. Like, come on. I think we did a great job.
I feel too, like when people are like, oh, people who've been on TV complaining about getting recognized from being on TV. I get it. And I think things like kids, nobody wants to see a picture of themselves eating. I can tell you that. Nobody wants that. You don't want to see a picture of you holding like a burrito up into your mouth. Like you just don't. But to me, I also go, I get it. I do get it. And I don't want to complain too much. But I'll also tell you on my end, like, my career does remain small. And some of that is because I haven't gotten auditions that I've auditioned for. Another part of it, though, is I haven't gone to LA and done pilot season in over 10 years. And I've chosen to do that. And when my podcast became like a source of income, I said, oh, thank God I have a safety net where I can stay off the grid a little bit. And I don't have to chase TV stuff as much. And right now, I mostly act, and then when I get enough to get my health insurance and my pension credit, I start really thinking hard about how much do I want to do, unless it's something that I'm really passionate about. Point being, like, everybody's always told me, you've never gone and lived in LA for even a stretch of time. Like, what are you doing? And then I sit and stress about my career. They go, it's kind of on you. I go, yeah, I moved out to Western New Jersey. Like, not even one of the town, not even Maplewood or Montclair, where all the city people go. Like, so I go, yeah, I get it. But also, I think maybe sometimes people would be surprised at like, and I'm low level. I was once at Disney World, to loop it back around that. I was eating with my mom, and a guy came up and said, hey, didn't I see you on The Office? And I said, yeah, man. He said, any chance I could get a picture? And I took the picture. And then he's like, so what are you doing here? I was like, oh, I'm eating with my mom. And he's like, oh, that's your mom, huh? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, what rides you been on? And I'm like, tell him a couple rides. Yeah, dude, have you been here? I'm like, and it's hitting a point where I go, I don't see my mom more than a couple times a year. I kind of want to sit down and eat with my mom. And I do scale things back. And I sit here, I go, I was on 2 episodes of The Office. I was on, and one was just like a 2-line callback. Like, I sit here, I go, man, like, I've opted out of doing a lot of stuff, and it makes me financially stress out that I don't do more. And then I sit here, I go, what's it like for Rainn Wilson? What's it like for Jenna Fischer, for John Krasinski? Like, I can't, if I get recognized this much for being the guy who tried to hit Oscar with a pipe in season 9 when Carell wasn't even on the show anymore. I didn't even get on the show until Carell was gone. What's it like? And I feel like there's a lot of people in that boat. And I go, yeah, I get it. I get people don't want to hear TV people complain about it. I've opted out a lot because I don't want to see myself in pictures in the diner anymore. I can't handle it. I get it. And that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
There's a certain line.
I do think that like Casey's point, like whether you're on TV or you're like a person witnessing some wild thing, you know, on an airplane that is with two non-famous people and you decide to like, I think that people just need to be more aware in this time, not less aware of everyone else's humanity and everyone else's fragility. Like, we've just all been through a fucking lot, all of us. And like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to make everything fodder for entertainment or gossip is like really demeaning a human experience and is really demeaning what life is. Like, if you think like talking shit about my kid to your friend group who's having a panic attack on an airplane, if that like gives you something, you need to reevaluate what's going on in your life. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I've been having this thought lately, and it keeps recurring. And like creatively, when I'm writing and things like that, I keep thinking this thought, and I don't know if it's super dismal and hopeless or if it's really positive, where I'm like, if I just assume everyone I encounter is having the worst day they've had in a long time, and I give them that benefit of the doubt, I will be a better person for it. And if I get that something, like if somebody's in front of me at the cash machine and they're taking forever and I'm sitting here going, how can you not remember your code? You picked the code, you idiot. If I just go, maybe they're trying to get ransom money. Maybe their mom got kidnapped. Maybe I'll just give them that level of benefit of the doubt. If I give everybody that extreme level benefit of the doubt, maybe I can just be a more relaxed person and the world can be slightly happier for it. I sort of feel like everything's so fast paced now and everything's so driven by that ability where you realize if somebody listened to your child and sensed, oh, this is driven by actual fear, and this is a young person who's in a situation that's starting to create panic, maybe that's a little bit less of a text chain tidbit and a little bit more of a thing where you go, that sucks, you know? That sucks.
Yeah. Or like, how about you turn around and you're like, hey, I have some gum in my bag. Do you want any gum? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like,
can I help?
Can I help you? Like, hey guys, like the lady next to me was flying alone with a very, very tiny new baby, 3 months old. Oh God, that baby was so delicious. It is. I don't love it when a baby tempts me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't love it when a baby looks at me and sees into my soul and is like, come on.
Seductress baby.
Come on. Your eggs are almost gone. Do it. Do it one more time. But anyway, the lady was like, after when we were finally, they fixed the noise. I don't even know what happened. The plane was fine. Obviously, I'm here. We're in the air and they were doing like the service and the lady clearly needed something and the baby was like kind of freaking out a little bit, like starting to get fussy, hungry. And so she was like, I could see her, that thing that you do as a parent where you're like, I'm making a decision. Do I put the baby on the seat and do the thing I need to do? Or what am I? And she was just sort of like paralyzed, like holding a crying baby, looking back and forth. And then she looked to the flight attendant who was at this point kind of behind us. And I just saw this whole thing happen in like a second and a half. And I was like, do you need something? Let me get you something. What do you need? And she's like, just my bag is up above. They made me, my bag and it has the and I was like, I got it. Don't worry about it. Like, you know, grabbed the bag. So she didn't have to, but just if you're paying attention to the world around you and the things that are happening, I don't know, it's just so much easier to be fucking decent than to like.
Yeah. Can I just make something easier for someone? And by the way, like it kind of feels nice. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah, you get to feel good about yourself.
Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to be like all Polly Sunshine. Like sometimes people are dicks and it feels good to like give someone the finger or to like mumble bitch under your breath at someone. Lord knows I've done it. But like, you know, if you're looking at a situation, if you're passing a situation, ask like, can I help the situation? And if you can't help, maybe just stay out of it. And like, if you can help. And like, and also FYI, I've been yelled at for trying to help before, but that feels a lot.
Sure.
That feels a lot.
Same.
That feels a lot better than getting.
I will never forget. This is probably 15 years ago. I was on the 1 train and a woman got on and she was crying. And she sat down in a seat and was like sobbing. And this train car was full and everyone was ignoring it. And I just remember having that. For as many years as I lived in New York, I never totally felt like, I was like, the moments where humanity totally goes away, I still see them. They bother me. And I went and sat down next to her and just quietly said, you know, whatever's going on, I hope it's going to be okay. Let me know if I can help. And I had no bad intentions except like, oh, this person seems like they're really losing it. And I got about 4 words in and she just goes, you do not, don't say a thing to me, right? You don't say a word. And I was like, this is okay. I guess I will just turn into a real New Yorker and just ignore the tears and pain of others. Okay.
Wait,
but
Chris,
I tried.
I do have a very important question.
Yeah.
Was it me?
Could have been.
Because I actually am very concerned that it may have been.
I don't know if you were hanging around New York.
What was the tray?
It was the red line. It was the one. It was in Uptown. The Uptown one from 23rd Street. I never forgot it.
Wait.
You do not. Don't say a word right now. I was like, all right. And that
Did she have blonde hair?
She did.
Was it winter?
I don't remember. Is this legit? Do you remember crying your eyes out and yelling at a man on the one train?
I don't remember yelling at a man, but it doesn't sound unlike me to yell at a man ever.
Yeah.
Like, especially a white dude. No offense, but like, you know what I mean? Like but I was 15 years ago, was in New York doing the Broadway workshops for Cry Baby, the musical. And it was like, I was at just a real shitty fucking low point in my life. It might have been like 16 years ago now, maybe.
Yeah.
And I had been like my boyfriend had like broken my heart. I'd come to New York hoping to make things better. I like tried to hook up with one of the guys in the cast, and that was a disaster and gross. And and then I was staying in, I didn't have like, even though I'd been on Dawson's Creek for 2 years, like didn't have a ton of expendable income, money saved. And I was staying in the like basement apartment of my best friend from childhood's dad's friend. I don't know. It was they were a family. They were nice. They were very kind to let me stay there. But like, I didn't know them at all. And so I was taking the train after just a fucking day and a night that had been disastrous. And maybe it was evening. I can't even remember. But I just remember getting on the train and going uptown and like losing it in such an intense way, like you're describing, like sobbing so hard. And just like, what?
This sounds like chances? It is possible.
What a so meet nuts. Cute that.
I like rage.
But I also probably would have just been like, don't even fucking talk to me, dude. I don't even want, like, nothing.
Yeah, I want you that was exactly that was exactly the vibe.
I want you to both to undergo hypnosis with like a oh my God, like a police sketch artist, and see if your sketches look like each other.
Did you get off the train soon after that?
I did. It was not long after.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I just like feel like this is a real possibility. I mean, who knows? But it feels like a very real possibility to me.
It really is.
It was like February-ish. It was cold. It was definitely cold. And I was there for 2 weeks. It snowed during that time. And and I was on the train. I was like, I like lost my, and I fucking, that makes sense. I mean, I could see it. I can see it all. I can't specifically remember yelling at you or if it was you or if I yelled at somebody, but I do remember being just like fucking insane. And at that time I was like, I would have screamed at anyone, but especially a dude.
I would say there is a decent percentage chance that
there's a chance
a decade and a half ago you screamed at me on the one train.
But listen, you know what? Even if it wasn't, even like, I feel like this is like some kind of proxy closure for both of your situations. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, because what is really yelling at Chris Gethard and what is really getting yelled at by Busy Phillips? You know what I mean?
Ooh,
like
questions.
It basically really happened. You know what I mean? Basically. Basically.
Also, I could see that in that moment, like, I probably was like, oh, now this guy wants to fucking hit on me. Like, you know what I mean?
And it was not that. I could say truthfully in my heart, I was like, this person is having a bad time. And I just want to make sure I just want to make sure they know somebody sees it. I want to make sure they don't feel totally invisible. And
how could we go back in time? How could we find out?
This calls for a black box theater show.
Ooh.
I've been looking for that.
Okay, guys, now listen. Me too. Listen, I'm in New York now, Chris. So if you want to workshop some stuff, I'm here.
Please.
I don't think Girls 5 Eva's going back I don't think we're going back to shooting until like late September, October. So I'm avail. Tech avail, as they say. Okay, so Casey, what are you doing your best at this week?
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm just going to try. My kids listen to the podcast. So I'm sorry, guys. Block your ears. I'm just going to try to, this is not a pornographic podcast, so I'm just going to try to say this as fast as possible. So you've been to my house, you know, it's like an open plan house, and you know that we bought it with the intention of being like empty nesters. Like everybody's moved out, everybody's going to college. And you also know that like we've been in a pandemic, and so people didn't go to college. So you know that like we've all been living under the same roof for like a long time. And like it's been over a year now. And you know that in the space of that year, at some point, married people have to have had sex at some point in that. Not a lot of times, but sometimes. And so you also know the back wall of my house is like all windows, right? So like if you want to walk the dogs out, you like will walk like at night, if you walk the dogs out, because like the coyotes will get the dogs. And so like my son will walk the dogs out. And so like if you try to have sex at night, there's a chance like he could walk the dogs out and like see in the bedroom window. But then you have to put down these really heavy blinds that make a big noise. And so you might as well just yell like, we're gonna have sex, like because of like the blind noise. So like you don't want to do that. So then you have like choices. You can like put the blinds down, which is basically like an announcement of sex, or you can just try to like really quickly and quietly have sex before like a kid goes out to like walk the dogs or whatever. So the other night we just like opted for like the quick and quiet thing. And like my husband does like a very physical job. He works really hard all day.
I thought you were talking about sex.
I did too. 1,000%.
Well, I was like, wow. Okay, Matt.
He does a really physical job. He works hard all day. We had gone for a walk. We walked like an additional like 3 miles for like exercise. For me, he took me for a walk, talking about taking dogs and wives for walks. And so we opted for a quick, quiet sex. And so we were doing that. And then like it just suddenly stopped like in the middle of it. And then, so when that happens, like I panicked because it wasn't me that just stopped. And so, you know, when you're our age and it just stops, you're like, oh shit, what's happening? And it was, that my husband got like a Charlie horse in his leg, and it was like he had like a golf ball in the back of his leg, but then he was just trying to work out this Charlie horse in his leg. But then after all like the quickness and the quietness that we were trying to accomplish, he was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, like yelling, oh my God. And then I was like, no, lay it down. And then I was like rubbing the Charlie horse. And then he was like, yes, 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 that's it. Yes, right there, right there. And then I realized like we are making like the craziest like sex like noises over this Charlie horse.
Oh my God.
Like it sounded like way more sex than we were having or that we were. And I was just like, I mean, So we didn't complete sex, and we also
Wait, so how is this something you did your best at?
I mean, we did our best to do it like one time, and we did it like half a time. And then we tried to be like clandestine about it. And then that wasn't successful. I mean, we just did our best, but sometimes it doesn't work out. You know, we'll try again like in the next quarter, I guess.
Next lockdown? You just go wait till the next lockdown?
I mean, yeah, I guess like what, just, I don't know when it'll happen again.
Okay. Well, aren't you guys going away on vacation? I mean,
yeah, but like we're like
it's not vacation. It's
going on like a road trip. Like what, we're gonna, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah.
Well, Lincoln, if you're listening, it was not sex noises you heard. The sex had stopped abruptly.
It was like a 2 minutes, dude. And then it was all Charlie horse.
Oh, God, what a bummer. What an actual true bummer. But you did your best, and that's what's important.
We tried,
Okay.
we tried. The magic is still there. It's just
the magic's always there for you guys.
The trick was not completed.
Oh, God. All right. Well, Chris, what are you doing your best at this week?
I just also want to say, let's remember to hydrate next time. Let's really remember to hydrate next time.
Hydrate.
Eat
and
some
electrolytes.
bananas.
Electrolytes, guys.
Get some electrolytes in there. I'm doing my best at being suburban. I'm doing a really good job of it. We've lived in this house about a year now. Just this week, we had our house exterior painted.
Nice.
This house, when we bought it, I'm not like I took every dime I've ever made in entertainment. I bought this house. The house has a sprinkler system, which I thought I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it was broken. I had guys come in and fix it. This week, I put down both lawn food and insect and grub control.
Yes.
We had a patch in the back where there was a bunch of bamboo, and we removed it, and it's growing back. And I've been digging out the rhizomes. No. I've been digging out the rhizomes. It's horrific.
Chris,
it's like a horror movie.
No, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something right now, and I'm going to save you years of your life.
Sure.
You need to accept the bamboo and move the fuck on. That bamboo it's just going to drive you fucking insane. You can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
I had it in our old house. We like took the backyard down to like the what is it called? Like the bedrock. Yeah. Like we went down, like we cleaned. It came back. The bamboo came back. It is like.
It's not ideal.
Just get a fucking panda and move on.
Our neighbor, apparently the old neighbor of the old owner of our house, the person who used to own the house behind us, both of those houses sold last year. Apparently the woman who used to live behind us used to sunbathe nude, and it would drive the owner of our house crazy. She put up this bamboo out of
spite.
Hence
the bamboo.
It was spite bamboo. And there was she had dug a big trench around it. And we knocked everything out. And I think all we've really done was removed the protective trench that was containing it. And now it's going where it wants. So I dig out the rhizomes. It's scary and daunting and an uphill climb. But that being said, I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job of just being a suburban dad. I think
there's nothing more powerful than spite bamboo.
Oh,
but also,
crazy.
I also want to say I really understand and respect your journey as a homeowner and a relatively new father, relatively new homeowner. Mm-hmm. A lot goes into being a homeowner that I think people don't understand if they've lived in a city or have had landlords their whole lives. Like things like gutters and like having trees cleaned.
It's endless.
Like I didn't know it's endless, and it goes on and on. Like, having your sprinklers system service, like doing all of these things, and it is like you got to figure it out because it's all the maintenance of your home, painting your home, making sure that the like windows are sealed. I don't even know, dude. It's a lot. So it feels like you're in it and you're really doing it and you're really doing your best, but you're never going to beat that bamboo.
This neighborhood we moved into, it's a reach for me. Like I took all the money I've ever made and I bought the house, and I think I can sustain living here. But there's a lot of people here who everything is paid for. they have disposable income. And I was mowing the lawn one day and I hit like the water pipe where it comes up. I hit it by accident and it made this loud noise. And this neighborhood kid happened to be walking by and he's like, "What was that?" And I was like, "Oh, I hit a thing." And it was like tail end of mowing the lawn. I was just like a tired, sweaty mess. He's like, "Why are you even doing that?" And I was like, "Well, because I gotta get it done." He's like, "Well, why don't my parents hire people to do that?" I was like, "Yeah, I can't." Like, what am I going to say to this 11-year-old child? Yeah, I can't afford that. Like, how do I explain class divide to a rich 11-year-old? How do I do it?
Though. You should try. You should try. I'm telling you, it is like one thing that I do to my kid all the time is like whenever I get like a whiff of that stuff, which happens a fair amount. These kids are growing up like very privileged little people. I really have to like talk to them, both of them, about like, you know what? Let's talk about money and
make him bring you some snacks from his house.
Okay, wait, listen, guys, we got to get to this interview.
Yes.
With Gail Simmons. Do you watch Top Chef, Chris?
I have not watched in a few years, but I'll tell you what, earlier today, I did another podcast hosted by Richard Blaze, and it was lovely.
Love Richard Blaze.
We love Richard Blaze.
Food Court. I did Food Court. Me and my wife did Food Court with Richard Blaze.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we love Blaze. Gail loves Blaze. We talk about Blaze in the interview. Don't we, Case?
Yes.
Yeah. And Gail and I are good buddies now, good friends, and I love her very much. And she has a new show, Top Chef Amateurs. Starts tomorrow night, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm not great at the details, Chris. This is one thing I sort of lack. I have no information in front of me. I'm just winging it. But I love Gail. I've been a fan of hers for years, and now we're good friends, and it's very exciting, and she has a lot of things to say, so listen. Function of beauty, function of beauty. What is your function? It's your function of beauty. I like that one. I think it's getting, that one's coming, that's coming into focus. I think that one's coming into focus.
Yeah, you're refining it.
Ooh, I am. Guys, you know we love our function of beauty here at Busy Phillips is doing her best. My whole family uses it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And listen, what is your current flavor of your function of beauty hair products?
Mango for
your
customized
mango, customized shampoo and conditioner.
Yeah.
The mango smells so good. Mango, rose, pear, eucalyptus. I actually really enjoy the mango myself.
Yeah.
One of my children loves the eucalyptus, and I get it.
Yeah,
And
I
you know
like
what?
that too.
And you know what? Yeah, it's Cricket. Cricket says, "I like to smell like a koala."
Of course.
So, obviously.
Yeah.
Listen, we know what your perfect hair should look like. It's, voluminous, full, shiny, but how does it smell? Well, Function of Beauty's custom hair makes sure you don't neglect the most powerful of your body's senses. Scent is perhaps the body's most underappreciated of the senses. Did I just sound like the mom from Schitt's Creek?
Yeah,
Moira Rose.
In a good way. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. We love them. Function of Beauty is the world leader in fully customized hair care. What do you do? You take a quiz. That's right. A short but thorough quiz. And then they create a unique formula that gives your hair everything it needs to look and feel its best. Every product is sulfate and paraben free, which is a big deal in my house because if you've heard this ad before, you know that one of my kids is allergic to sulfates. It's vegan, cruelty-free, and there are over 60,000 real 5-star customer reviews. Casey and I are using the tropical mango for summer.
I also have peach, which is delicious.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
No, you should have told me. I would have gotten peach too. Okay.
Well, you can still.
I guess.
Yeah. And
Maybe
I also
next
have I also have lavender because you know who loved lavender? Prince.
Yes. Anyway, lavender is I have lavender as well. Yeah. Sweet peach, crisp pear, lavender, rose, eucalyptus. If fragrance is not your vibe, that's okay. You can also do unscented. So turn your beauty routine into an aromatherapy sesh or a tropical getaway with the mango. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Go to functionofbeauty.com/best to take your quiz and save 20% on your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products. That's functionofbeauty.com/best to let them know that you heard about it here and to get 20% off your order. functionofbeauty.com/best. You know, sometimes it's really hard to sleep when I'm thinking of clickbait for this show. Guys, don't worry. Get to the third act of the show and you'll understand. Anyway, but you know what helps me sleep really well?
Your Helix mattress.
My Helix mattress. Casey, you're right. I love it.
It's a great
love
mattress.
My Helix pillow. I'm not even kidding. I love my Helix pillow.
The pillow is so good. Why did I say pillow?
Did you just call it a pillow? Wait, that's hilarious. I love it. You guys, we're changing the name to pillow. I love the Helix pillow. I love the Helix pillow. I don't love having a bad night's sleep. I don't love waking up with numb hands, which I was for a while. And I was like, oh, there's something wrong with me. Like, this is it. It's all. And then I got a new mattress and was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. My mattress sucked. I think people forget to get new mattresses.
Yeah.
I think it's a thing you forget.
Yeah.
That you have to buy a new one.
And that it's like a huge part of your life.
Yeah. And you spend so many hours on your mattress. It had better support you in the ways you need support. Helix Sleep has a quiz. You know I love a quiz. It takes 2 minutes. It's faster than a BuzzFeed quiz.
And more important, frankly.
And quite frankly, you don't need to know what Spice Girl you are. You need to know what kind of Helix mattress best suits you and your body and the way that you sleep, because everybody is unique. Helix knows that. There are lots of different kinds of mattress models to choose from. They have soft and medium and firm and mattresses that cool you down if you sleep hot, and even a Helix Plus mattress for plus size folks. Listen, we all took the quiz. We love it. It's easy, and the delivery is very fast and easy.
Very fast.
So guys, if you're looking for a mattress, or if right now as you're listening to this, you're like, oh my God, when was the last time I got a new mattress? Then it's definitely time for you to get a new mattress. Take the quiz, order the mattress that you're matched to, and the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't ever need to go to a mattress store again. Helix is awesome, but don't take my word for it. Helix was awarded #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ and Wired magazine. Just go to helixsleep.com/best. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they're going to match you to a customized mattress that is going to give you the best sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for, are you ready for this? 100 nights risk-free. And they will even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will love it. So you will never see those people again. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows. We love the pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/best. Guys, this is the most exciting thing. I mean, well, we talk to a lot of friends. We talk to a lot of friends on this show. Wouldn't you say, Casey?
Yeah, mostly.
Gail Simmons is someone that I was a fan of first from Top Chef, and then met through my good friend Sam Hanks, Colin Hanks' wife.
The nicest.
The nicest, and also adore, and worked with Gail first, and then they started a production company together. But so I ended up meeting Gail through Sam, but Gail lived in New York. So it was like, you know, we would see each other when she was out one time, you know, like we'd like run into each other at Soul Cycle or like, or at Sam's house. We would make a point to have like one afternoon. I'd probably see Gail, how many times a year would we see each other until this?
Once or twice.
Once or twice a year. But I love every time we saw Gail and her husband and their kid, loved. Then pandemic vibes 2020. And did you text me? I think you texted me.
I did, because I had several conversations with you, and specifically I remember one long conversation with Mark over the years about Charleston.
Right.
Because he knew that I
before
loved
you guys
Charleston.
went there for Top Chef. Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think when we went there for Top Chef and came back, and Mark and I had this one talk about how he loved it and how much I loved it, and I started going back a lot after Top Chef. And then I remember him telling me about driving across the country with Cricket.
With Birdie.
With Birdie. They drove across country to spend the summer there. And so I had always had that in my mind. And then during, towards the end of spring last year, when we realized that like summer was canceled and we needed a plan for us and our children, we found a house. Oh no, before we even found a house, we decided this is the time. Why don't we try going down to South Carolina for the summer? And had this memory that you guys often had done that. So I texted you about it and was like, what do you think? Is that a crazy thing to do?
And I said, not only do I not think it's a crazy thing to do, I think we're going to do it too. I think we're going to make it the thing that we do. Guys, let's try to put ourselves back June 2020. It was tough to make these decisions. It was. We didn't know what was happening. We still don't, to be fair. And that's a lesson that we've all learned, that we never will know what the fuck is happening. But but you were like, I think we're going to do this, but I don't know. And I said, I think we're going to do it, but I also don't know. You found the house not far from the house we had already rented, had already committed to renting. So we were like sort of in it no matter what, even if we decided not to try to trek across the country. But then once I knew you guys were going to be there, I was like, okay, I think we can do this. And we ended up spending, like, we podded. Pods. Remember pods, guys?
Remember pods. We better remember
So
them.
vividly.
They might be coming
come
back
around.
Yeah.
Pods are,
Don't forget them. Don't forget
those
them.
pods are quickly coming back.
Hold them close.
Oof. Anyway, so we podded together for the summer, which is, as anyone knows, it's a way to really get close quickly. Because it was
Learn
one
a
other
lot about the
family.
families.
That we had
basically three families.
Yeah. And I did like a little summer camp with our kids.
That was really like the highlight memory. Like I think back to that summer, and the camp that you ran for our children really stands out as like such a beautiful thing. It really does. I know I'm not going to cry about it, but there, when I think back to that moment in our lives and all the uncertainty, and there was so much of it. And I remember you were like, I'm going to do this. Just drop your daughter off every morning at 10 a.m. And I was like, you really could do, are you sure? Who knew? I didn't know. A lot of people probably knew. I didn't know that Busy Phillips was a secret crafting master / camp director. Like she's like Julie from The Love Boat. Like she just took it on and just brought my child into her fold. It was really, and it kind of like, it really made our summer in a lot of ways.
Well, you also had, Gail, I just saw immediately, like, my kids are older, but Cole was little. You had like a baby.
We did, still do, but he's definitely grown.
I mean, and so like,
and when our babysitter had ghosted us, remember there was like
and that happened, right? And that happened.
We were juggling.
You had hired like a babysitter that was gonna get tested and then sort of like quarantine and stay with you guys, like, and then she just didn't show up.
What happened? Did you ever find out?
I think she decided to party.
Yeah, she. My husband, who is an expert at creeping on Instagram, essentially sleuthing. He is a private investigator in his secret life. Totally found out, and this is a note to all you millennials